In other words, should we focus on improving or increasing the number of publications, or should we focus on increasing the number of citations received for our publications, or should we focus on both? This is important to be understood by every author or every scientist or a researcher. Let's take an example of citations. I have taken a Google Scholar profile as an example. This is the who is my colleague at my department. As you may notice, the number of citations indicated by Google Scholar is 646. This means that for all the publications made by Dr. B.T. Sampath Kumar, as traced by Google Scholar, he has received 646 citations. And you may also notice that the title and other details of the publications made by him and the number of citations for each of them and the year of publication of the article have been listed in his Google Scholar profile. Now, we must understand what is meant by receiving a citation. For that, I'll go to the next slide. Let's take an example. I'll take the example of the first article listed in this profile, Perception and Usage of E-Resources and the Internet by Indian Academics. Let me take this as an example to explain what exactly is meant by citations received. Let me take this example. Let us study the details of this article. The title of the article is Perception and Usage of E-Resources and the Internet by Indian Academics. This has been published by two authors, B.T. Sampath Kumar and G.T. Kumar. And this is published in the year 2010 in a journal by name, The Electronic Library. Let me show you another article, Use of E-Resources by faculty members and students of Sher-e-Kashmir Institute of Medical Science, authored by Iqbal Butt and Mahesh V. Mudhol. These two are the authors of this paper. And this article has been published in a journal called DeciDoc Journal of Library and Information Technology in the year 2014. As you may notice by the titles of these two articles, there is some similarity, some commonality in the content of both the articles. Let me point to a particular part in the second article. Yeah, you may notice Kumar and Kumar, there is a superscript 6 found in their study of medical and management colleges that the users are well aware of e-resources and prefer to use internet. This is one paragraph in which Iqbal Butt and Mahesh V. Mudhol have used some content from the article published by B.T. Sampath Kumar and G.T. Kumar, and therefore they have mentioned the names of the authors of that article in the text of their article. So, in this case, Perception and Usage of E-Resources and the Internet by Indian Academics becomes a cited article, and this becomes a citing article. This means that B.T. Sampath Kumar and G.T. Kumar each have received, have earned one citation from this article by Iqbal Butt and Mahesh V. Mudhol. So the authors B.T. Sampath Kumar and G.T. Kumar have received or earned one citation. The authors Iqbal Butt and Mahesh V. Mudhol have given or attributed one citation. So I hope now you have
Yes,
understood.
sir.
Yeah. So as I was explaining, in this case, Dr. B.T. Sampath Kumar and G.T. Kumar have earned one citation from the article authored by Iqbal Butt and Mahesh V. Mudhol. Over a period of time, this article by B.T. Sampath Kumar and G.T. Kumar accumulates citations. That means today in this example, I have shown one citation earned by this article, these authors. These authors as well as the article starts earning citations over a period of time. This article was published in 2010. So over a period of 10 years, 9.5 years, it might have earned n number of citations. But what is important is to keep track of citations earned by each article or each author. Um, we have services on the World Wide Web which do this job. That means what they do is they get into the full text of each article and they study the cited references and they keep track of the cited references. Whichever reference is cited in a particular article, that will be added as a citation in the cited article. So over a period of time, the citations get accumulated. Let's say this is the article in question. Over a period of time, the number of citations goes on increasing. So services such as Google Scholar, Web of Science, Scopus, and even Microsoft Academic to some extent will give you this benefit, this service. They track or trace the citations earned by each article by getting into the cited references of other articles. That's how citation databases have grown over a few decades. So citation databases today, we have Google Scholar as an openly accessible citation database. We have Web of Science and Scopus, which are subscription-based citation databases. So the main benefit of using citation databases is that you can track the impact in terms of number of citations, impact of a specific article or a specific author or even a specific journal. You can also track how many citations have been received by a journal for a specific period of time for the articles published by it. So the understanding, the lesson learned from this example is that citation is an important measure for assessing the impact of research. So in the academic world, the belief is higher the number of citations received by a journal or by an author or by an article, higher is the impact of research. This means that more number of researchers have found a particular article useful. So based on this, citation can be used as a tool to measure the
ನೀವು ಅದ್ರಾಗ
impact
ಸೆಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ಸ್
of
ನಾಗ ಹೋಗಿ ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್
the
ಮಾಡ್ರಿ,
impact of
ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕ್ ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಆಗತ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗತ್ತ.
individual
ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ
authors,
ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋದು ಇಲ್ಲರಿಲ್ಲ. ವಾಟ್ಸ್ಆಪ್ ಸೆಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ನಾಗ
the
ಹೋಗಿ
impact of individual authors, the impact of individual
ಮೇಲೆ
articles,
ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ
and the
ಸೆಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ನಾಗ
impact of individual journals. This also enables comparative analysis of the impact of two or more authors, two or more articles, or two or more journals in order to evaluate the quality of publications. After having understood two important aspects, research productivity and research impact, uh, both productivity, that is the number of publications, and impact, the number of citations received for publications, matter in scholarly writing and publishing. Therefore, it is important for any author, any researcher, any academic to know the various sources available for selection of journals. Though there are many different types of scholarly works, such as books, technical reports, conference papers, and proceedings, I will be focusing on journals since they have a special place in scholarly world. I will be focusing on writing journal articles. The first step is selecting a journal or submitting an article. So I'll be throwing light on some of the sources available for selection of journals. For instance, I am a person from political science. I want to know which are the best journals in my subject in order for me to contribute an article and publish an article. Best in terms of what? By now you have understood best in terms of number of citations. In other words, if I publish an article in a particular journal, I should be able to receive more number of citations. That is my intention. So if I am receiving more number of citations, it means that my research is more impactful. It has been found useful by more number of people in their scholarly endeavors. So let's start with the sources for selection of journals. Most part of my session will be on a scientific basis for selection of journals using these sources. The first source for selection of journal I will be showing is UGC CARE journal list, which is an Indian initiative, a one-year-old initiative by UGC, and this is a quality control, quality assurance mechanism initiated by UGC in terms of bringing quality in the publications. So UGC CARE provides a list of journals for us to base them as a reference for submitting articles. So I will be sharing this PowerPoint presentation with Dr. Girish. He will in turn pass it on to the participants. So for now, I think I can just exit my presentation. I can just go for demonstration. I also have got screenshots in my presentation. So what I'll be doing is I will show each of these and I'll try to delineate the differences in these lists. So let me exit, let me stop sharing this. Let me go to the browser where, yeah. Girish, can you see the browser now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you see the Google Scholar homepage?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So first, let me start with UGC CARE. UGC CARE .unipune.ac.in is the site where the UGC CARE journal list is provided, and the list is maintained by Savitribai Phule Pune University. This is the website, and in order to get the list of journals in a specific subject, you need to first create a free account with UGC CARE on UGC CARE website. So I already have an account, therefore I'm going to click login, and I've got user ID and password. If you are new to this site, you can click on register here option. So I'll just log into this Okay, so I have logged into, as you can see the logout button, I have logged into UGC CARE list. In this list, there are two groups of journals. On the right hand side, you can see there are two groups of journals. UGC CARE list group 2, let me talk about this first. UGC CARE list group 2 contains those journals which are indexed, which are listed in globally recognized databases, namely Web of Science, Scopus, and MLA, Modern Language Association list. So this means that any journal which is indexed in Web of Science or Scopus or MLA is automatically a UGC CARE listed journal. So there is no confusion about it. You need not have any confusion or anxiety about whether Web of Science listed or Scopus listed or MLA listed journals are included in UGC CARE. They are definitely part of UGC CARE. They are listed under group 2. So I will show you the direct sources instead of taking you here, but I'll focus on UGC CARE list group 1. UGC CARE list group 1 includes those journals which are not listed in globally recognized databases, but they have been found qualified for listing by UGC CARE based on certain set parameters. So if you want to see UGC CARE list journal, you can use on the home page UGC CARE list journal. You can get the list on the basis of title, if you know the exact title of the journal, or ISSN, International Standard Serial Number, or name of the publisher, or subject, or language of publication. So you can search for title or even subject, for instance. Let me try something like political science. Okay. As you may notice, the count of journals matching the subject political science is 26. The details are given here. You can also notice that some journals under the action column, some journals are indexed in Scopus. Therefore, they have been automatically removed from UGC CARE list group 1. If a journal gets indexed in Web of Science or Scopus or in MLA, it is automatically removed from group 1 because it will go to group 2. So this is how you can find out the journals, UGC CARE listed journals in your respective subjects for submitting your articles for publication. So this is UGC CARE list. So as far as Indian context is concerned, the UGC CARE list now should be your ultimate source. But of course, UGC CARE list is quite comprehensive. It includes Web of Science and Scopus also. So let me now go to the second source. The second source from where you can get the list of journals in your respective subject or on the basis of a particular title is Web of Science Master Journal List, in short MJL. Web of Science is a citation database service provided by a company called Clarivate Analytics. Therefore, Master Journal List is also part of Clarivate Analytics. So let me type the URL mjl.clarivate.com. Let me go to Master Journal List of Web of Science or Clarivate Analytics. A little while ago, I mentioned that Web of Science is a subscription-based citation database service. That means you have to pay the subscription fee in order to get access to the articles indexed in Web of Science. Then in order to get the citation, number of citations, impact, H-index and all that, you need to have subscription to Web of Science group, Web of Science database. But in order to get the list of journals indexed in Web of Science, you need not take subscription to Web of Science. It is absolutely free. So master journal list is the place where you get the Web of Science indexed journals. If you have any particular title in mind, you can type. You can also use certain keywords. For example, let me try economic and political weekly. Let me try and find out. If a journal by exact name is not found, it will also take the keywords. It will show you the nearest match in the results. So let us search journals. Yeah. So if you scroll down, you will see about 1,978 results matching the keywords. On the left hand side, you also have filters. You can also filter them based on country, based on Web of Science categories, based on whether a particular journal is listed in directory of open access, then coverage. Web of Science has different kinds of indices: science citation index, social science citation index, arts and humanities, then emerging sources citation index. So based on language and based on frequency, many other criteria can be used to filter the results. So the message is, Web of Science indexed journals list is freely available on the web. You need not get subscription to Web of Science in order to access the list of journals indexed by Web of Science. For that, you can come to Web of Science master journal list. The third source, an equally important source, is the list of journals indexed by Scopus. Scopus is a very reputed citation database service provided by Elsevier, a leading publisher of scholarly content in sciences as well as social sciences. So for that, for getting the list of journals indexed by Scopus, you can go to Scopus sources list, scopus.com/sources. You can go to Scopus sources list. You will get the list of journals. Let me just try. Just give me a moment. Yeah. So scopus.com/sources. This will give you the list of journals indexed by Scopus, which is a very reputed database, citation database, which will track the citations. The journals can be filtered or found out on the basis of subject area, on the basis of title, if you know the exact title, on the basis of publisher, or on the basis of ISSN. For instance, here I can choose subject area, let's say political science and international relations. I can apply. On the whole, you may notice that there are 41,154 results, meaning that there are more than 40,000 journals indexed by Scopus. So let me just filter out the journals in the subject political science and international relations. Okay, so there are 614 results. 614 results. You may notice the details given in the search results. Number one journal in political science as indexed by Scopus is American Journal of Political Science. Next to it, you may notice site score. Site score is an impact metric, journal impact metric provided by Elsevier through Scopus. So I will be talking about this a little later. If you click on a particular journal, it will give further details about its impact. Yeah, so American Journal of Political Science has got site score 2018 6.98. Scimago Journal ranking SJR is 9.602, and source normalized impact per paper is 4.336. Of these, site score is important to be understood. I will be explaining about it a little later. So the third source for selection of journals is Scopus sources list. Once again, I must tell you that Scopus citation database is a subscription-based database, subscription-based service. That means you have to pay and get access to Scopus citation database in order to search for articles, get their number of citations, search for authors, get their H-index and all that. But in order to get the list of journals indexed by Scopus, it is absolutely free, and you need not take any subscription to Scopus database. So Scopus is another source, excellent source for selection of journals in your respective subject. The fourth source is an openly accessible source, that is Google Scholar. Google Scholar, you may be familiar with Google Scholar and Google Scholar profile. You may be knowing that Google Scholar is an openly accessible citation database which will give you citations, number of citations for your articles, and H-index, I-10 index, and such other metrics. But did you know that Google Scholar also ranks journals in various subjects? So I'll just show you how Google Scholar can be used as a basis for selecting most impactful or most highly cited journals in your respective subjects. For that, you need to come to Google Scholar. This is the home page of Google Scholar. On the top left, you have got 3 horizontal lines. Click on it. You will get one of the options, metrics. Click on metrics. And if you click on metrics, Google Scholar will list top 100 journals irrespective of the subject. That means for all the subjects inclusive, these are top 100 journals according to Google Scholar. Google Scholar will rank these journals based on a proprietary index called H5 index, which you can see on screen. The journals have been ranked in the descending order of H5 index. So the most impactful journal according to Google Scholar is Nature, having H5 index of 368. This number 368 indicates that in the last 5 complete years, there are 368 articles out of the total number of articles published by Nature, which have 368 minimum or even higher number of citations. That number is quite mind-boggling number. That means out of the total number of articles, let us say Nature journal in the past 5 years has published 1,000 articles. Out of 1,000 articles, 368 articles have received at least 368 um, citations or even higher. That means 50% of the articles have got 546 citations. The middle number is H5 median. If out of the total number of articles, the articles are arranged in the descending order of the number of citations received, that is from higher to lower, the middle number, the median number of citations is 546. That means 50% of the articles have got 546 or higher number of citations, and the other 50% less than 546 citations. So H5 index. H5 index is used exclusively by Google Scholar only. No other service uses H5 index. So my question is how to find out such impactful journals in my subject. For that, you need to click on categories. This is a drop down box. You need to click on categories. The broader categories grouped by Google Scholar are displayed. Click on a respective broader category. You can do trial and error if you are not sure to which category your subject belongs. Let me go to social sciences. If I click on broader category, now the list of journals you are getting here is reduced to 20. Overall, Google Scholar gives top 100 journals, but if you filter out to, if you come down to specific categories and subcategories, only top 20 journals are listed. So this is the list of top 20 journals in the whole of social sciences. Social sciences is also too broad a field. I need top 20 journals in my respective subject. For that, click on subcategories. All the subcategories are listed here. I will choose political science, for instance. I'll click on political science. If I click on political science, top 20 journals according to Google Scholar in political science is listed. So this is another source, excellent source for you to make a decision as to which journal I should submit my article in order to make my article more impactful by way of number of citations received. So this is Google Scholar. Let me go to the next source. The next source is Microsoft Academic. This is a competitor to Google Scholar. This is also openly accessible database, scholarly content database, scholarly bibliographic database, I can say. It also gives the number of citations, not anything beyond that. It does not measure the impact of authors, but number of citations is provided by Microsoft Academic. So let's go to academic.microsoft.com. That's the source. But if you want, you can go to home page, but in the home page, you don't find journals. Therefore, I am directly going in order to save time to cover more. I'm going directly to top journals. For that, straight away go to academic.microsoft.com/journals. So if you go to this link, you will find the journal analytics page of Microsoft Academic, in which 48,876 journals as of today have been listed. You can also apply topic filter, topic meaning subject filter. Let's say, in the interest of time, I'll click one of these. Let's say economics. If I click on economics, top journals, 100 journals in economics will be listed by Microsoft Academy. So what I suggest is, since for us meaning for Indian researchers, UGC CARE list is a kind of ultimate list. Even if you use other sources such as Web of Science Master Journal List, Scopus Sources List, Google Scholar, or Microsoft Academic, please double check, come back to UGC CARE and enter the title of the journal which you have tentatively selected from other source to find out whether that journal has been listed by UGC CARE or not, so that you will be doubly sure that the journal will be impactful as well as listed in UGC CARE, which meets the requirements for award of degree or for career advancement. Apart from these are specific sources. Apart from these, there are other publisher specific journal finder services. Elsevier has got Elsevier Journal Finder service. Wiley, another reputed publisher, has got Wiley Journal Finder service. Springer is another reputed publisher of scholarly content, a very prestigious publisher. Springer also provides Springer Journal Suggester service. These are publisher-specific journal selection services, assistance services. So let me just show you Elsevier Journal Finder. Yeah, I can also go to Wiley first, journalfinder.elsevier.com. Now you will notice the difference between the sources which I explained earlier and the sources which I am showing now. These sources are specific to publishers and they will help you in selecting a journal if you already have prepared an article. So let me, Girish, can you see the journal finder on screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's quite visible, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So
Welcome, sir.
the difference between earlier demonstrated sources are general sources. These sources are publisher specific sources. Their speciality is, if you have a paper ready but you don't know to which journal I have to submit my paper or article, then if you enter the title of the paper and enter the abstract of the paper and give some keywords optionally and choose field of research if you know which field it is, the most suitable journals published by it. So let me do a demonstration. I have chosen an article which I have published earlier. Let me check what it will show. I am entering the title. I am also entering the abstract. These two are compulsory in most of these journal finder services. I enter this and let me click on find journals. Now it will give me certain results. Let us analyze the results once we get them. So there are 50 journals which are matching my paper. My paper means the keywords which I have given in the title and the words which I have used in the abstract. The journals, let me scroll down. Before I scroll down, I want you to take note of time to first decision. This point, okay? Time to first decision. Time to first decision means the number of days a journal takes to communicate its decision about your paper after you submit. So this is the time lag between the date of submission of article by you to the journal and the date of first communication by the journal to you on the status of the article. So let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. 50 journals have been listed. So if you have a look at the first one, if you have a look at the ISSN is given, then site score is given. I showed you site score is an impact metric used by Scopus, Elsevier. Site score. Impact factor is also given. This is used by Web of Science. I'll explain about that. What is the rate of acceptance of articles? 100 articles are submitted to this journal. Only 18 articles get accepted finally. That is the meaning, 18%. Time taken by this journal to communicate its first decision, 4 weeks. 4 weeks. And thereafter, time to publication is 3 weeks. That is after revision. In case in the first round, your article gets accepted, gets considered for publication. So, as you may notice, specific journal finder service gives more insight on journals than general sources such as Google Scholar or Scopus sources or Master Journalist. So this is Elsevier Journal Finder service, journalfinder.elsevier.com. Similarly, we have Journal Finder service by Wiley. Yeah. So since I have demonstrated Elsevier Journal Finder, I hope you can try this on your own. So you can find journals by title on the right hand side, find matching journals based on your manuscript title and abstract. So let me just show you that, what kind of difference it makes in searching for journals. Okay, fine. So journals are listed here. Journal of the Association of Information Science and Technology. Impact factor is 2.835. ISI, Institute for Scientific Information. ISI ranking is 18 out of 85 in a particular category, 54 out of 146 in a broader category. Whether it is open access or not, it is optional to the author. So this is another journal, publisher specific journal finder service, which will help you in selecting impactful journals for submitting your article. Let me show you one last source for selection of journal. There are two, in fact. Springer Journal Suggester is also available. Journalsuggester.springer.com. I think you can try it on your own. In the interest of time, I'll skip it. But I'll show you one more general guide, irrespective of the publisher. That is journalguide.com. So you can use this in order to find out cross-publisher journals, irrespective of the publisher, cross-publisher journals in your respective subject, either by using your title, manuscript title and abstract. This is the general criteria, or you can also go by journal name or the person. So I can use this, it gives to me journal finder, journalguide.com. So this will list the journals based on source normalized impact per paper, SNIP. This is an impact metric which is Scopus database. So 8 journals matched my search. You may notice superficially also that going by the name of the journal, it is quite relevant to my article which I have written. So Elsevier, Emerald, Taylor and Francis, Sage, there are many publishers listed here. Impact factor is also given. This is SNIP. This is how you can choose journals. Method number one, find out impactful journals in your respective subject. Start with one journal first. I'm not insisting that you have to go for top cited journals. Top cited number one journal, you may choose based on your preferences. Go to that particular journal's page and study the scope of the journal. You need to study the scope of the journal. Do not blindly write article without studying the scope of the journal. If at all you use this method, first identify the journal, study the scope of the journal, study the formatting guidelines, submission guidelines, and then accordingly prepare an article. Method number two is the other way. If you already have prepared an article, if you have the title and the abstract, you can use publisher specific journal finder service to find out the best suited journal based on the keywords used in your title and abstract. So there are these two methods can be used based on your discretion. So this is about my session was to give an understanding of the scientific basis for selection of journals. Now let me go back to my presentation. Let me stop sharing that and let me share my presentation. Yeah, I hope you can see my presentation now. Yeah,
Yes,
so
sir.
these things I have covered already. Let me come to another very important factor in deciding which journal should be selected. For impact factor, or for journals, it is journal level impact measurement. So for measuring the impact of journals, there are many methods developed, evolved over time. Journal Citation Reports, JCR, by Web of Science is the most widely accepted method or metric for measuring the impact of a journal. Journal citation reports are published every year. Journal citation reports include something called Journal Impact Factor. Journal Impact Factor is not so complicated. It is simply the average number of citations earned by a journal per article for the articles published by it in the previous 2 years. I will illustrate this through an example. Parallel to this, Elsevier has devised CiteScore, which takes into account, which is nothing but impact factor calculated for 3 years instead of 2 years. Web of Science takes into account previous 2 years for calculation of impact factor. Elsevier takes into account citations earned, articles published in the past 3 years for the calculation of CiteScore. That's the only difference. Alternatively, Scimago is a non-government organization. Collaboratively, Elsevier and Scimago publish ranks for journals. These ranks are called Scimago Journal Ranks. And Scopus has recently come up with another article level metric, that is source normalized impact per paper. based on the expected number of citations and the actual number of citations. So I don't want to complicate this. Just know that these are the various impact factors, various impact measurements, metrics available for measuring the impact of journals. The third is H5 index by Google Scholar, which I have. A company, Cabels is a company analytics service, also ranks journals. Eigen factor score is a score which has been in existence since 2007. Based on article influence in a particular subject, scores are assigned. This is journal level impact factor. For author level impact can be measured based on average citations earned per paper, which is not so scientific. I'll be explaining in the example. Secondly, H index, an index which measures the consistency in earning citations. This is by far the most widely accepted author level impact metric in the scholarly world. This was devised by a scientist, a physicist by name George E. Hirsch in 2005. Apart from that, I10 index is an exclusive index developed by Google Scholar. G index was developed by Ege and others. At article level also impact can be measured. Impact of a specific article can be measured. Its impact can be compared with other articles based on citations earned simply. Secondly, altmetric attention score. So these are the different impact measurement techniques we have for journals, for authors, for articles. So I've got an example for three important metrics which may be useful for you. It is important for you to understand these metrics. Let me just show you an example. First, let me take up impact factor, journal impact factor, how a journal impact factor is calculated. Let us say there are two journals in any subject. Let us say any subject N. So there are two journals X and Y. If I have the data on the number of articles published by the journals in the previous 2 years and the number of citations earned on those articles by the end of third year, I can calculate the impact factor simply by using the formula number of citations earned until year 3, until the end of year 3, divided by number of publications made in year 1 and 2. So as you may notice, the impact factor of journal X for year 3 is 0.83. Impact factor for year 3 can be calculated only in year 4. That means once we get the complete details of the citations earned until the end of year 3. Similarly, I can calculate the impact factor for journal Y. If you have, in similar fashion, if you have n number of journals, let us say 100 journals, if you also have their impact factor, it should not be difficult for you to choose a journal based on impact factor. Higher the impact factor, higher is the number of citations earned per article by that journal. Therefore, in all likelihood, journals may receive higher number of citations in future also. It is subject to change. It varies, but it's an assumption that publishing in high impact factor journals may get higher number of citations. So this is journal impact factor. The second important metric you must understand when it comes to authors H-index is for measuring the impact of authors. Any individual entity can be measured, like author, or if you take the total publications and the citation details of an institution. For example, I can also measure the H-index for government first grade qualification details, number of citations earned for each article. I can also measure for institutions. So H-index is used for measuring the impact of authors. Irrespective of the year of publication of the article, for finding out H-index of an author, the articles are arranged in the descending order of the number of citations. So what you see here, 3, 12, 5, 20, 4, 6, 8, these are the number of citations earned by an author, author A, for the publications made by him in various years. So this was just for your reference. Year of publication was just for your reference. So I'm going to delete it altogether. It is not required for finding out H-index. So I'm going to delete them. I'll also compare it with another author, author B. So I'm going to delete the year of publication of author B's publications also. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, first, let me note down the number of articles published. The number of articles published by both of them is 7 each. Total number of citations earned by these two authors, I can just put a sum of the total number of citations. The total number of citations earned by author A for by B, it is 128. If I calculate average citations per publication, that is the mean citations, dividing the total number of citations by the total number of articles, I'll take only the integer part of it. 8 citations per article per publication have been earned by author A. Similarly, author B has earned 18 citations. So if an institution bases the impact of authors only on average citations per publication, then author B is considered more impactful than author A. But is it really the case? We will find out once we find out the H-index, calculate the H-index. How to calculate H-index? Take all the publications. In this case, I have taken only 7 publications. You have to take all the publications. Let us assume that author A and B take the number of citations and arrange the number of citations in the descending order. So I have done it for author A, as you may notice, 20, 12, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3. After doing this, assign a rank to each article based on the number of citations. It is just like assigning rank to students in a class based on the score. So let me serially do that. I've got 1 to 7. These are article ranks. Now, how to find out H-index of author A? Compare number of citations earned and the article rank. For time being, consider article rank as an ordinal number, not a cardinal, as a cardinal number, not ordinal. So 20 is greater than 1. Okay, do a comparison. If the number of citations is greater than the article rank, move down to the next row and compare the second. 12 is the number of citations. 12 is greater than 2. Therefore, move down again. 8 is greater than 3, move down. 6 is greater than 4, move down. 5 is equal to 5. So just at the point when the number of citations and the article rank become equal, stop there. If you don't get equal, when the number of citations become less than the article rank, stop there and go to the previous row. Here, 5 articles have got 5 or more citations, whereas 6th article has got 4 citations. Therefore, I stop here and I mark this as H index of author A. So 5 articles, this means H index 5 for author A means 5 articles have of author A have got 5 or more citations. So as you may notice now, H index is not only an impact metric, it is also a productivity metric. That means in order to increase H index of an author has to improve the number of citations for all the previous articles, also publish new articles. That means more number of articles. Therefore, H index, because of this factor, H index is more widely accepted as a scientific metric for measuring the impact and productivity of authors. Let's do the same thing for author B. I'm going to select the citations of author B and go to data. I'll do descending order sorting. Article ranks are already there. So 100 is greater than 1, I'll move down. 10 is greater than 2, move down. 6 is greater than 3. And 4 is equal to 4. 4 is equal to 4. Therefore, I will mark H index of author B as 4. Now, based on H index, if you see, who is more impactful? Even though with a lower number of total citations, with a lower average citations per publication, when it comes to consistency in getting citations for each publication, author A outscores author B. Therefore, H index is an important author level metric to be understood by each and every author. So your aim should be getting more and more citations for your articles, as well as publishing more number of articles, so that your productivity as well as impact will increase. I'll take the last example of a real Google Scholar profile. I have already, for your convenience, I have already arranged this, the number of citations in descending order. I have also assigned ranks to articles. If I go down, now you know the technique, 1171 is greater than 1. So on, I will move down to this particular stage. Let's start with 23. 32 is greater than 23. I'll go down. 28 is greater than 24. 28 is greater than 25. 27 is greater than 26. But 25 is less than 27. If it is equal, you will stop. You will take this as H index. If it is less, then you have to come to the previous row and take article rank as the H index. This means out of 100 articles published by this author, 26 articles have earned at least 26 citations or even more. So the H index of this author is 26. which is a very good number. Okay. I-10 index, I'll take this opportunity to show you I-10 index. I-10 index simply means the number of articles having 10 or more citations. So I have to go down further, 10 citations. Yeah, here I have got 10. The last article which has got 10 citations is 53. That means 53 articles out of 100 articles have got citations equal to 10 or more than 10. Therefore, I-10 index of this author is 53. So this is the way Google Scholar will calculate I-10 index. So this is about the examples on impact factor and H index. I'll take 5 more minutes, 5 or 10 more minutes to come to academic identity platforms by sharing my presentation. Okay, right. So this is journal citation report, as I was explaining about JCR by Clarivate Analytics as part of Web of Science. As you may notice, for the year 2017, a cancer journal for clinicians, CA, has got 244.585. That means in the previous 2 years, each article has got 244 citations, which is very high. From discipline to discipline, impact factor differs. Impact factor in medical sciences is generally high, higher than impact factor in natural sciences, and which is again higher than impact factor in social sciences. So this is a limitation of impact factor. It does not take into consideration the differences in publication patterns and citing patterns which is existing in various disciplines. This is a limitation. Okay, this is about Scimago journal ranking, which I explained, and Google Scholar. Cabell's journal whitelist. Cabell's provides whitelist as well as blacklist. You can consider journals from whitelist. This is a subscription-based scholarly analytics service. It is also important for us to understand that there are certain fake or dubious impact factor services which boast of indexing journals and assigning very high impact factors for them. I have taken this from the source. The source is mentioned at the bottom. Please do not use these sources since they are dubious. They which misguide you. Whenever somebody says impact factor, please understand that it only means Web of Science impact factor. And somebody says site score, it means Scopus site score, or SNIP, Scopus SNIP, or Elsevier SNIP. So there are H5 index only Google Scholar. But H index is provided by Web of Science, Scopus, as well as Google Scholar. And H index value may differ from service to service because of the differences in the coverage in tracing the citations. So these are dubious impact factor services one should be aware of. Okay, now let me explain a bit about academic identity. Academic identity determines who I am as an individual academic on the World Wide Web. I'm talking about online presence only, not offline presence. And who I am in the academic world, at least the subject. If I'm a political scientist, how am I recognized? How am I identified, recognized among my academics, among other political scientists? This matters a lot because nowadays, not only publishing articles is important, but an equally important task is to project your impact, project your research, establish your identity by using various academic identity platforms. So let me draw your attention to various academic identity platforms. Before I give the details of academic identity platforms, it is important for us to understand one concept called author name disambiguation. When let's take an example of register numbers assigned to students in any course. Why should a university assign register numbers to students? Why can't it go by names? It cannot simply go by names because names duplicate, names repeat, and they cause ambiguity, cause confusion in clear identification. The same problem is existing in scholarly publishing also. To uniquely identify an author, it is difficult if we base it on his or her name. Therefore, author name disambiguation service is also provided by these academic identity platforms. So what is meant by author name disambiguation? Taking care of the different forms of name an author uses in his or her scholarly publications, and instead of names, assigning identifiers, assigning codes to identify authors. So this service is called author name disambiguation service. This becomes important because the number of authors is exponentially growing, and the number of journals, number of publications made every day is exponentially growing. You can create a profile on Google Scholar, and you can add your publication details to establish your academic identity. These are the steps. I'll skip them. The presentation will suffice. You can see the presentation, follow the steps to create all these profiles. You can log in and you can create a Google Scholar profile, add your publications. You can also search others' publications, other user profiles in order to get information about their research impact. This is Google Scholar. The second is Clarivate Analytics, Web of Science, Researcher ID. Web of Science also provides free ID to each researcher, each author. So you can use Clarivate Analytics Researcher ID service, create an account and get a researcher ID in all your publications in Web of Science. Instead of your name, you can be identified by your researcher ID. Is a Publo service, is a publication view service as well as identification service, academic identity service provided. Again, this is relatively new as compared to researcher ID. So you can create a Publon's profile, you can add details, you can also be a reviewer. If you get selected as a reviewer, you get an opportunity to review the papers published by Web of indexed in journals indexed by Web of Science, Publon's profile. You can also search others' profiles on Publon's. The most important academic identity profile which provides author name disambiguation is ORCID. Open Researcher and Contributor. You create a free profile, free account on ORCID, you will get a 16-digit unique identifier by which you can add your credentials, including employees. The fourth is Scopus Author ID. Scopus also provides academic ID service, author name disambiguation service by way of Scopus, get Scopus author profile. So you can also see the profiles of other authors. Microsoft Academic also has an account creation facility. You can create an account on Microsoft Academic, search the papers published by you, which are indexed by Microsoft Academic, add them to your profile. So this is how your Microsoft Academic profile looks. All these services can be integrated into one particular service, Indian service called Vidwan. This is a database of experts in various subjects. You can create a profile on Vidwan. You can create an account on Vidwan. Of course, this account has to be approved by a moderator, which will be eventually done after verifying your credentials. You can create an expert profile on Vidwan, and you can add on the left hand side, you can see, you can add various academic identity profile IDs in Vidwan. The advantage is once you add them, it can be used for another important service called IRINS, Indian Research Information Network System, which is recently launched by InflibNet. What IRINS will do is it will take the publication details from various sources. It will give you the overall impact of your research. These are my academic or scholarly identity profiles, which I have created. I can share these with others. They can get to know more about me, more about my publications. They can access my publication details so that academic identity eventually leads to better visibility for your research. Apart from them, there are also academic social networking platforms in which you can create free accounts, add your publications, meet people who are like-minded, who have interest same as you. You can discuss, you can come out with ideas. You can also download their publications, access their publications. Some of them I have mentioned here: Mendeley.com, academia.edu, researchgate.net, CiteSeerX for computer science, mathematics, statistics people, Archive. There's a general archive. There are also subject-specific archives such as bioRxiv and social science SOC archive. These are the profiles. I have just put my profiles. Yeah, so my ultimate request to all the participants is you must take care of two important things in your research. One, doing research is one aspect, publishing articles is one aspect, but where you publish articles matters for you. So research visibility, in order to get better visibility, you need to publish in impactful journals. I have illustrated how you can find out scientifically more impactful journals for submitting your articles. Once you publish articles in more impactful journals, it is also equally important for you to project your research by creating various academic identity platforms and sharing details of your research. So leave your scholarly digital footprint online. As far as research is concerned, you can be well recognized researcher, at least among your academic peers. Since internet and World Wide Web are global platforms, you may get global recognition also. So thank you very much for your patient listening. I conclude my presentation. Any questions, I am more than happy to respond to them. Thank you.
Well, dear participants, that was Dr. Rupesh Kumar of